गुड मॉर्निंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉर्ट में आप सबका स्वागत है. टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू डू समथिंग not different but interesting. What did China lose in Op Sindoor? Now, we've talked of what Pakistan lost and what others have lost. What did China lose? And that's what I've tried to put across. You have to get the central theme of this cartoon. He says, सरकार आपका हथियार फेल हो गए, कुछ और दे दो. And Xi Jinping is saying, this is not for war. This is सबको डराने के लिए है. That is the story which is the first failure of China. China hypes its weapons, portrays its weapons as the best, develop weapons, and all of them are not meant for fighting. They're meant to hype the system. But that I will talk a little later on the efficacy of the PLA. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. We need to understand, right? And I keep my focus on China. Okay. Having said this, let me take a minute. I'd like to tell everyone, YouTube has rolled out a new, feature where all videos from, all videos can be seen in different audio tracks. For example, you can see Ganashot in English, you can see it in Hindi, you can go to German, all that. I did put out a small video on that. But the only thing is, that's not applicable for live tracks, live streaming sessions. They are only applicable for videos, which you put out normally. So what I'm doing is most of these live sessions, now I'm going to edit them, bring them under 1 hour, because 1 hour is the limit and for which you can have that audio track in different languages. And I'll repost it after 3-4 days, so that you don't get the same thing over and over again, right? And you can see it, and you can see it in different languages. Those of you जिसको हिंदी चाहते हैं, आप हिंदी में उसको सुन सकते हैं. हाँ, हिंदी में जो परिभाषा है बिल्कुल सही नहीं होगा, पर तकरीबन 90% आपको समझ में आ जाएगा. And that's the thing, and that's how it is going to be. I also see some nice questions coming up already, and we will talk of it because these are all important issues. So I'll get back to what did China lose. Okay, let's see what happened. First, understand this. What did China invest into Op Sindoor? I mean, my way of looking at it, I've spoken earlier, but I'm going to repeat it. And that is, it gave part combat support. When I say part combat support, what do I mean? There are rumors that China, some Chinese test pilots were also, flying the GA-10s. It gave support for targeting and things like that, and through their satellite systems, communications, and satellite communications. That's combat support. Okay, complete combat support from China. Complete information, surveillance and reconnaissance support. Complete, right? In fact, I think the satellite systems, the communication systems, everything were completely meshed in to the Pakistan system. And then logistic support. And then full narrative support, which is continuing even now. I believe that the Chinese ambassador to Pakistan sat in the ops room on 10th, 9th, 10th, or every night. And it was only on 10th morning after the Indian strikes he left, because he felt that the game was up. Even he felt the game was up. Right? We don't know, but this is what is the unofficial news. When I say narrative support, this is it. Today morning in Guancha, they come out, India's victory propaganda group, that's the multi-party delegations which went all over, finally ended, but it was fatally injured at the last moment. And they say, look, the Pakistani delegation succeeded. They went to UN and Pakistan became the chair of the anti-terror council and all that. And, India was left high and dry. So that's the narrative. And that narrative is still going. But one has to look beyond the narrative in this whole game. And by doing so, China continues to lose something, and I'll come talk of it. This is a losing narrative which China is playing out. This is part of their loss, the way they're siding with Pakistan. Okay, we also must understand that narratives are not meant for international audience alone. They're meant for internal purposes in China. And Guancha, no one in the world reads. It's only people like me who go to Guancha and read. But the Chinese public read it. It is for the Chinese public to tell them we are going to sort out India. We are with Pakistan. China and Pakistan are sorting out India. It's recognition of the fact that India is one of their main adversaries. They don't talk, but they act on it. These narratives are required for their regime survival. This is part of their externalization policy that divert internal attention away from their problems at home and put it up front. You'll be surprised. Some of these Chinese channels and media platforms have no news whatsoever about what's going on in China in terms of their PLA, in terms of their weapon failures, in terms of the political problems which Xi Jinping is facing. Zero. Everything is, we are doing well and we are conquering the world. We've defeated America in the trade war. Now, with the help of Pakistan, we've defeated India. Now, and then we are going to conquer Europe and we're going to sort out this. That's the thing you have to understand. And that's what is projected to us. But we need to understand where they lost. China and the CCP cannot fail. Chinese technology has to be the best. China must be seen to be supporting its friends. And China must protect its own interests. And look, finally, USA and India must be destroyed. That's their bottom line. Okay. Now, let me go back, before this Op Sindoor, what this chap said, Lin Wen Mang, right? Deputy Director of the Center for South Asian Studies at Fudan University in Shanghai. It's a pretty important center. And this fellow often writes on India and China and South Asian affairs. Forget about the thing, he's first said China's role is likely to be limited. Look, this is pre-Op Sindoor. I'm getting the pre-Op Sindoor sentiments to prove a point. All that is fine. Right? India will not accept Chinese mediation and India will not accept Chinese viewpoints about Op Sindoor. Why? Very simply, they are party to this whole story. But the last line is important. China has to realize this, and China has realized this, and yet they've done something funny. Instead of regarding Islamabad as a counterbalance to Delhi, China's approach is now to focus on avoiding Pakistan being completely overwhelmed by India. And that's what they've done, and they've failed. They failed. The narrative is different. But remember, they started Op Sindoor with this notion that Islamabad should not be completely run over. Okay? The different thing, the failure in this is where China supported Pakistan. Pakistan lost. But Pakistan's victory, so-called victory, is not because of China, more because of USA has come to help it. For other reasons. And now there's a new bonhomie between between Pakistan and USA. So where does it leave China? China started this whole game to ensure that Pakistan doesn't lose and India doesn't win. That they couldn't stop. But what they do, what's happening is they're losing Pakistan to USA. Look at it from different points of view. Everyone talks of Pakistan being given the red carpet treatment by USA. They'll give it, but why are they doing it? Where does it affect China? Okay, this again was before Op Sindoor. It says India has poor skills and a bad president, and there nothing can be done. And they went on to say, this is their assessment before Op Sindoor. India may hope to launch so-called surgical strike. So the Chinese assessment was we'll launch a surgical strike like it happened in 2016 and 19 so that it assuage the feelings of Indians. Then they went to say, look, 70% of Pakistan weapons and equipment have been Chinese assized. And India's weapons and equipment have been inferior to those of Pakistan. So there's no victory for India. This is their assessment. Okay? This is their assessment. And what has happened? Completely the opposite. That's the point. And this was an article which had come in Russia Today, again before Op Sindoor. Here's what China stands to lose in the India-Pakistan crisis. Have a look at the map and I'll explain to you each one. Yeah, let me make it a little bigger. First, China does not want the region to become a hotbed of extremism or great power rivalry. He's scared. Now, forget everything else. Now, Pakistan is going to be a hotbed of great power rivalry between China and USA. So who's won? Instability in Kashmir or Pakistan's tribal regions poses a direct threat to China's internal stability and its western frontier. That is this area. Okay? And that is on the cards. Though China has rushed to Taliban and speaking to the Afghan government and all that. But even in Afghanistan, it's being contested heavily by USA. And USA might just use the card to put instability in the West. A war between India and Pakistan would cause serious damage to China as it would endanger the CPC, destabilize Xinjiang, and potentially draw in other global actors, undermining Beijing's long-term regional ambitions. This is exactly what has happened. So has China won? Or what has China lost? Right? By encouraging Pakistan to do what it did, China is on the losing end. Okay, right. The next point, multiple rounds of exchange of fire broke out. This is immediate during Op Sindoor. This is the thing in Guancha. Multiple rounds of exchange of fire broke out in India and Pakistan. Indian netizens are not ashamed of saying if China intervenes, they will send troops to Taiwan Strait. So they worried. So one China has come into stake forever. Let me put it. I'll come to it a little later. Right? I'll elucidate this. This is happening. So this is, in my way of looking at it, this is China's major loss. Op Sindoor has enabled or influenced to get into the Western Pacific, and I'll talk of it later. Another article which I said, India is a global, this is something, the Chinese thinking. Very important to understand. India is an important global player in China's efforts to woo the global south. India's trade deal with the US and conflict with Pakistan would hamper a recovery in ties between Delhi and Beijing. Losing India altogether would be a negative in building a coalition against the US. Okay, China is on the verge of losing India altogether. They're continuing with those articles. They're continuing with those articles and continuing with those stances. And the thing that giving them F-35s and all is not helping China's case. Don't think just because Trump has concluded a deal with China and he is giving a red carpet treatment to Pakistan, everything is anti-India. We'll analyze it separately, right? You have to understand the real politic which is going on here. And we have to, right? China could respond by supporting Pakistan, and if that happened, it would be a setback and improvement in bilateral relations between India and China. China and India are founding members of BRICS. So already that whole story of BRICS is at stake. SCO is at stake. And this year, Mr. Modi is to go to China, or rather, could go to China, or will be invited to China for a SCO meet. Will he go? If he doesn't go, it's a slap on China. That's at stake now. Unless China does something. And what can China do? China is now locked in a conflict over Pakistan with USA. That is irretrievable now. Whatever it is. Okay. Why am I saying this? What is the mystery behind the independence farce of Balochistan province in Pakistan? And this is a report of 19 June, not far back. Oh, sorry, not 19 May, not 5. 19 May, not far back. We're just talking about 2 weeks back. Balochistan has gone out of control of Pakistan. I spoke of this yesterday also. So if Balochistan has gone out of control of Pakistan, and it might never come back into the control of Pakistan, and one day I'll do a program on this, maybe next week, about what's happening in Balochistan. Because the sophistication of attacks is going on. There's one city called Surab which is still independent, which has not been reckoned by Pakistan forces. The way the army is handling Balochistan, the situation was getting only worse. And the Pakistan army actually does not have the capability to handle Balochistan. This is a fact on ground. Who does it affect? It affects China, because bulk of CPC goes through Balochistan. They've lost it. And what's more, Trump ji has stepped into Balochistan. So now within Pakistan, there's Balochistan, there's Trumpistan, and there's this Chinistan. All these four are going to fight in Balochistan. Is it good for the Chinese? Forget about Pakistan. We're not talking of the Chinese. Their interests are gravely threatened. And that's what they've lost in this whole story. And that's what I had written then. If the situation in Balochistan continues to deteriorate, which it is, the security environment of the China-Pakistan economic corridor and Port Gwadar will be impacted. And that is what is there in this article from China. So, right? Then everyone talks 50% off on J35A and all that. China's half-price stealth deal to Pakistan ignites online backlash. I've picked it up from their online stories. I'm putting it so that you understand the depth of the feeling there. Right? This is, the J35 is their first ever fifth generation jet, and they're trying to export it to Pakistan. And this is generally, a lot of people see it as a strategic move. There's no doubt. But many people are now saying, we pay the price. Move is reckless. These are the words which are coming out in their internal social media. J35 yet to enter Chinese service. Why would China send an important, unproven, in testing aircraft, one which is not inducted to own Air Force, to a foreign buyer that still depends on IMF funding for economic survival? Why are you giving it to him? So Right. Another view, China's own production of the J-35 has not been built up. How can it be given to them? It's a concept being sold as a finished product. So it's not a finished product as it. Critics are not convinced about it there internally. Okay. China, then one chap says Pakistan's financial instability, and unpaid defense bills cannot be ignored. Right? Now, how can you prioritize this as charity sale to a cash strapped neighbor? It hasn't even paid for the J-10s. The truth is coming out from within China. And it's a financial burden on the Chinese taxpayers. The next sentence is quite damning. There are two more powerful printers are coming. Whether the government plans to ramp up jet production or metamorphically print money. So the print money and printers are connected to cover the cost, effectively subsidizing weapons for a client state with a poor credit history. So China has to start printing money to do all this. Why are you doing it? So you don't give them jets. That's why get more printers. Are you getting more printers? So this has come under thing. Then someone says China is eager to use the Pakistani order to market this aircraft internationally. But who'll buy it? I mean, first 40 jets they have to go to Pakistan and then equip their own. Or will it be the other way around? If it's the other way around, it'll be the next 10 years. And if they're made in a hurry, they'll not function. We know. Then he says Pakistan also claimed that during Operation Sindoor, J-10CE jets armed with long-range PL missiles downed multiple Rafale fighters. Beijing has leaned on these claims to pitch the J-10C as a combat tested in marketing materials. But outside Pakistan, no one is buying. This is coming from within. People in China are not convinced about the J-10, capability. He says this is all claimed by Pakistan. There's no proof of it. Who'll buy it? They know outside Pakistan, no one is buying that the J-10 down the Rafales. So the truth was coming out. Then he says China's attempt to sell the J-10C to Egypt, Brazil, and Uzbekistan have all fallen through. One reason is technical. The jet still depends on Russian engines like Klymov RD-93 and Saturn AL-31, which many countries consider outdated or risky due to supply chain uncertainties. Logi. So you think anyone will buy American Chinese weapons? I mean, this is supposed to be their success, isn't it? The J-10 was supposed to be their success, and the J-35 is going to. As days go, and as the political climate in China goes down, these voices will become even more shriller. And as they become more shrill, the chances of Pakistan getting this won't happen. Remember, what happened during COVID? People came to the street, that white street protests, and COVID was lifted off. So similarly, if there's a lot of public pressure against this sale, remember this sale and all this could all be propaganda, right? To put pressure, to say, oh, we're going to do, nothing might come out of it. Let's not be in a hurry to conclude that China will come like a knight in shining on armor and help Pakistan out. It might just not happen. And that's what I feel will be in the long run. Should look at the long run always. Don't look at short run. Don't look at headlines. Headlines are manufactured overnight. I will make headlines tomorrow. But will it be truth? It will not be. And look at this clip. It's a very interesting clip by DRDO. So what's happening? So DRDO, this is being held in Jakarta, and this is being showcased there, all these equipment, everything. Tomorrow onwards. Yeah. In fact, not tomorrow onwards, it's already on 11 to 14. You entered the arms market in a big way. It is just not guns or something. A whole lot of things are being marketed. So, where do we go? Where does China go from here? Right? Right. Let's look at that. So, this is my losses. Now, I am coming to the meat of what I'm going to speak. Okay? For today. There's no doubt Chinese equipment were a fiasco. What will be the effect on PLA? What will be the effect on their national defense? They have to rethink. This is a huge loss. All their drones failed, all the HQ9 failed, their communications failed, and EW failed, and ESM, electronic support measures, failed. They have to rethink. There's a huge question after the way this war was fought. Can China fight a modern war? They've never fought a war. Okay, how will they fight? How will they fight? They say they'll do anything, but can they do it? In this Sindoor, India has gained experience and is richer by it, not China. Pakistan has gained whatever it has gained in terms of operational experience, but China has lost it. In fact, if there's anything, Chinese confidence in their own equipment systems would have failed, would have gone down. And India is riding high, which is China's loss. Everyone wants to buy it. Yesterday also I spoke of it. The Chinese vulnerabilities in Tibet have been exposed. Any reverse in Tibet will foster a revolt. So hereafter, why do I say vulnerabilities in Tibet? Tibet remains vulnerable still. I've done a program on this. China is undergoing political problems. Any reverse on the border will instigate something, which means that China has to start looking inwards. Why do I say this? Way back in 2020, when one Tibetan soldier, a JCO, was killed in who died in snow leopard on Kailash range, operations. There was a huge resonance in the Tibetan community on both sides of the border. Now, if something else happens and China faces a reverse, it will have a domino effect. Might just trigger something in Tibet. It's a huge vulnerability now China faces. And that's why I say a lot of people yesterday also, when I was discussing with General Raj Shukla, I said, don't look at the maritime domain always. Things have changed. So if things have changed, the continental domain is as important now as the maritime domain. PLA's vulnerability here has to be utilized to your advantage. Then propaganda has limits to war. It cannot obs- obscure or obfuscate the realities of what happened in war. Chinese propaganda is failing in their own within their own circles, within internally, notwithstanding all this tom-tomming which is going around. Okay, they are not able to sell to their own people that they need to sell high-tech equipment to Pakistan, and that is political. China cannot suffer a political loss. A military loss it will withstand, not a political loss. Everything in China is political. CPEC, like I said earlier, is extremely vulnerable. I can show you n number of articles in Baidu which say so. That look, we are in a problem. Have they lost the CPEC? It could be the end of CPEC because Balochistan is in problems. USA has entered there. USA is very clear that they'll destroy the CPEC and Gwadar. They'll never let Gwadar become the base which China wants. And how to do that? Create chaos in Balochistan. So have they lost it? And now with this, China gets the hang, or not China, USA gets the handle to get into Bangladesh. It's forcing Bangladesh to open that humanitarian corridor. So who's lost? India will become a strong competitor in the arms business. People will buy. People are already lining up. And now, like what the thing is going to be shown in Indonesia and all that, and all this defense thing, you'll see orders coming. And we have now an export policy. The moment that export policy, you start earning money, it'll feed itself. Your defense industrial base will improve. And that is to China's detriment for two reasons. They will buy your weapons instead of theirs. Look, the world had fundamentally two choices. They could either go to, or three choices, buy US weapons, Chinese weapons, or the European weapons. There were no fourth manufacturer. But the fourth manufacturer has come now, and he's cheaper than all. He might not be cheaper than China. We might not be cheaper than China. We are more reliable than China. Our equipment is battle tested. Theirs is not. In fact, theirs is battle failure. So pitched against Indian equipment and Chinese equipment, people will go to India. People will turn to India because India is more trustworthy. So then what happens? Your influence grows. Your influence grows. And who wants Indian weapons? Those who oppose China. Who is that? Vietnam, Philippines, Taiwan. There's some deal with Taiwan also on. Japan, Indonesia, Malaysia. These chaps will come now. They will. They've already started coming. So China has lost it. Because those chaps are going to use us as a hedge. And our influence will now use, everyone talks of string of pearls here, our influence is going to go across. Okay. India's influence in global south will grow because of this. People know that you have not taken on only Pakistan, you have taken on China also. And that's where China has lost. Investment in weak countries will not pay. China will realize it. That's where it has lost. All its investment in Pakistan, which is a weak country, is going down. And similar thing will happen elsewhere. There's a backlash within the country based on the partnership with Pakistan. Now there's a clear realization that Pakistan cannot be a counterfoil to stop India. It can't check India. Pakistan was being propped up by China to be a counterfoil and a counterweight to India. No more. Forget about what's happening in America, all that. After Op Sindoor, Pakistan's economy is completely short. It's on a lifeline. That lifeline has to come either from China or USA. If that doesn't come, it's going to collapse. They'll keep it alive. That's okay. But a person on lifeline can't be stopping you. Even during Op Sindoor, they couldn't stop us. They couldn't hurt us. Nothing, no infrastructure loss, nothing, minor losses, which is okay. Some ammunition expenditure is okay. In fact, after that, you shell out a train and all that, which I spoke yesterday. Your economy is still booming. China's economy is going down. There's no revival. You have converted, I'll talk of that. So it's a huge loss for China. Pakistan can no more stop India, neither can Bangladesh. So the world has to rethink as to how to do all these nonsense. You can't stop India. That's the point. If you can't stop India, China has lost it. Now, China has to be aware. Earlier, India was some kind of a competitor who could be wished away. People say, what can India do? Yeah, no more. Today, you are turned into an adversary. China has turned India into an adversary. The way to start with, I showed you what they wanted. They didn't want India to move away from China. Now you have conclusively moved away from China. What happens with us and USA is a different story. That's separate. But this is very clear now. And now Pakistan is being viewed by USA actively. Oh, Asim Munir is going to USA. For all you know, he might go and have dinner with Trump family. Then where does it leave China? See the losses China has suffered. It's not physical. It is reputational. It is face. It is internal and external. Right. This is all I had to say today. A short, I just wanted to put it up crisply as to what all China has lost. It's lost hell of a lot.